You will rob you or be exterminated! Exterminate! Exterminate!
A few months after the first Auton invasion shook the world, a final surviving nesting capsule, one the Doctor could not bring himself to destroy, is being held on loan in a museum, but is stolen by the Master. A Time Lord that the Doctor is not happy to see. The Master has come to Earth in a bid to take it over, using the living plastic creatures as his army. Meanwhile, the Doctor has met his new, clumsy, yet adorable companion, Jo Grant, which, after the scientific mind of his previous companion Liz Shaw, he is not happy with. But can she grow on him? And more importantly, can the Doctor, Jo and Unit stop the Master triggering a second Auton invasion? Or will they all end up suffocating in plastic? Let's discuss Terror of the Autons, which was written by Robert Holmes, directed by Barry Letts, and aired from the 2nd to the 23rd of January 1971.
I am Nick.
And I am Conrad.
And we are the Eyes of Harmony, and you shall obey and listen to us right now as we talk about Terror of the Autons.
I don't think they're taking what we're saying, they're just possessed.
Damn it.
How do we undo? Undo! Undo! Please!
So, Terror of the Autons, the first episode of, is it the 8th season? 8th season of Doctor Who.
No.
It's it's a brand new era now. I mean, Series 7, where the John Pertwee's is there, still kind of, it's like, I think it's like a bridge, kind of between the old and the new.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that, though, of course, they're trying out the whole being grounded on Earth thing, so it feels, I guess they kind of take the style more out of like other shows at the time a bit more than what they do from the Patrick Troughton era. So I think one of the main comparisons for it was the Avengers.
Yeah, definitely.
Was one of the main comparisons of the John Pertwee's first season. Or stuff in that kind of vein, This one feels a bit more. Yeah, it feels like, first off, that they kind of got their own identity, but second off, feels a bit more, I guess, Doctor Who-like.
Yeah, it's definitely more grounded. I mean, with, mainly the other ones, like Ambassadors of Death, Inferno, and Doctor Who and the Siderians, as it's called. It's very much...
Or the cave monsters.
It's more like, kind of, a bit more adult, really, and this goes back a bit more kiddie and... getting more like the monsters are scary and so on, while the others were much more kind of adult themed.
Though driven. I would say that something like The Mind of Evil is still pretty...
That's quite adult, yeah.
Yeah, that fit right in with the first season.
That would have, definitely, for sure. Actually, it's kind of... Maybe it was originally going to be written for...
I mean, but the Master's kind of a central thing in that, so...
Yeah, that's true. But they could have just made it any other guy, just a mad scientist. But anyway, so it kind of kicks off straight away with introducing the Master, which is definitely, I think, the best call of action that they could have done, because it sets him up straight away. He's a villain, he's nasty, and he's a Time Lord.
Go around hypnotising people.
Yeah.
Which is the defining factor, but they seem to have forgotten that.
Yeah. They did it a bit in the Russell T Davies.
Well, they hinted at it more.
Because he used the
did.
Satellite.
But he doesn't go around hypnotising people by himself. That was one of the creepiest and coolest things about the Master from back then. Like the fact that he could just wander up to someone and go, "You will obey me."
Well, he couldn't do everybody because
some people are too stubborn. Yeah,
Farrell. But I'm kind of intrigued on how he randomly knew the circus owner's name. Kind of, did he go forward in time? I guess it's a bit like. I think it would have been funny if he had a badge on. I was like, how do you know my name? You're wearing a badge. But anyway, Roger Delgado is still the best Master to date.
Yes.
You just can't beat his stare, his look, the style he has.
I do enjoy the performances of Anthony Ainsley and John Sim, but the thing about them was that Anthony Ainsley tried to be Roger Delgado, but didn't do it as well.
The decaying one is scary, but it's just not the same.
It's not really the master.
It's a different.
It doesn't feel like the master
part of his like cycle.
And John Sim is a bit difficult to compare, considering they're quite different interpretations of the master.
And then Michelle Gomez is literally just
John Sim, yeah,
but female, and
pretty
even a bit more kookier. But
a bit more.
Yeah,
and then Derek Jacobi. I mean, you can't really.
Such a shame. They should have given him the story, but I do like John Sim. Either way, I think they should have brought John Sim back. But oh well. So Roger Delgado is definitely probably the most kind of notable thing about this, but they had to introduce a brand new companion as well, which is Katie Manning as Jo Grant. And
I say they give her more range here than they do in like the stories later.
Yeah.
As I've always been watching fairly recently watching my way through the John Pertwee era, because I've been slowly buying them down on DVD. Like in a lot of stories, she's just there to kind of scream, or perhaps they like point out the obvious as a bridge to the audience. In this story, she gets to go around like well, first off, she gets a bit of a character arc because like everybody kind of wants her to stay behind and
then she
keeps pushing forward. Secondly, she's the first one to investigate the factory. I guess we kind of mentioned that, but how did she find the right factory? But we'll talk about it a bit later. And she does the investigating. She's the one that saves the doctor, and like she just generally, and she gets to put on like a wider range of emotions than what she's really given leeway to do in like later stories, where she just kind of look worried or be happy,
Yeah.
She gets a bit more grumpy at moments. She gets a bit more, they do more with her here than I think they do throughout most of the rest of Doctor Who. Like the stories are fine later, but it's just they don't really do so much with her.
So so the Master arrives, steals the Nestine consciousness, which for some reason hasn't been destroyed. No idea why, but
well, they did kind of mention that the Doctor wanted the Brigadier to destroy it, but the Doctor said he wanted to destroy it, but it'd be like killing a living thing or something.
Oh right, yeah.
He did briefly mention.
True. At least they kept that as a kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's kind of weird. So there's that strong man at the circus. Why didn't the Master use him to try and break in instead of a fat, overweight circus owner? Maybe it's because he's stupid that he can't
it. Well, no.
Him, but...
No, I don't think it's so much...
It was just kind of like, you could just use the really strong guy, but the random use
maybe
the
he's
green
not quite
screen.
subtle, maybe.
The guard and the green screen was just like, just use a warehouse, just use something.
Yeah, that was a little bit...
It kind of makes me miss the black and white era when they were just inventive with everything, they had tasks, but it feels like as soon as green screen came along, they were like, there's just corners everywhere.
It was very much, and this isn't like some of the DVD documentaries, but Barry Letts was very much like...
trying to move forward with technology,
and was very much like, for the green screen, like there's this, I think... green screen demonstration where which he's like presenting and doing stuff in. Like he was very much for the green screen, but of course like it was in its infancy.
They hadn't kind of fixed it.
It had to. You have to start somewhere.
It worked with the Time Lord part when he arrived. I like that. Though I don't get how he's floating unless it's like a hologram. They never really explained it. But so he goes then to the telescope. No.
Telescope?
Sorry, not
telescope.
It's a radio telescope.
It's a radio tower. Radio. Well, sorry,
Beacon
telescope.
Hill radio telescope.
Yeah, radio thing. Yeah.
And kidnaps one professor and
turns
the other into a tiny person.
Which
how does he do that?
For his laser
he
gun
just shoved his face in the box and kept going underneath it.
Just
get in the tin. You will obey me.
I'm gonna put you in the washing machine now. That makes you shrink.
Make him shrink. But
but he uses some gun, which actually, and that as well became kind of a signature thing.
Yeah, like, turning into dolls or very
little
tiny
things. Yeah, and that happened like right up to the Deadly Assassin. Though they kind of, again, as another main feature of the Master, which they had in the cuttings, which they kind of since kind of dropped.
Forgot about. Yeah.
Which again is a shame because that is kind of a really creepy way to kind of die. Being shrunk to an extent to
become a doll. They should have done that with Osgood.
Kind of reminds me of because there was this and this is slightly off topic, but I have this very picture of like this because I had a Batman annual from early 80s.
Oh, was it?
And
was
there
it
is
Joker
a one where they with the Joker, and there's this shot where they like shrink someone and then run them over, and like that kind of stuck in my head, and this very much it's kind of similar to that. I'll probably put a scan of that on screen now.
That is quite. Yeah. So basically, when Joe arrives, it's such a good scene when she puts it out with the fire extinguisher. I like just John Pertwee.
Oh yeah, John Pertwee's very
Katie Manning just have the best relationship.
Indeed.
It's like perfect for his dog. So when you think of, mainly I usually think Sarah Jane and Tom Baker rather than Sarah Jane and John Pertwee. Though I do enjoy Sarah Jane and John Pertwee, I just think Sarah Jane is more of a Tom Baker doctor than a John Pertwee. Like that
companion.
Connected, connected to that doctor. Yeah. But I definitely always go that Joe is the definitive third Doctor companion, because she's in it for most, and just the way they kind of play off each other and that kind of.
I'm still fond of Liz Shaw and think she's kind of underrated.
It's a shame that she didn't have more as well.
Yeah.
And she didn't get too much range, because a lot of the story. I think they needed something like a story like this to give to Liz or something.
Well, the thing was is that they very much already set Liz off as the Doctor's kind of equal,
which was the problem.
Yeah, which is like why they
even in this, like, Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart even kind of basically like makes a jab at that kind of like, oh, you don't need someone, you just need someone to pass your test tubes and tell you how great you are.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the bit where like he makes the Doctor try and tell her, and he's like, well, Joe, I can't really say this, and it's just such a sweet scene, and it's like
an interesting thing about John Pertwee in the story, because he is a bit more grumpy than what we'd see him a little bit.
Yeah, he cheered up and became a bit more grumpier to start with.
The reason, I think part of what they were doing here, which I remember from the special features, is the fact that they wanted to show it so where the Doctor's a bit of a grumpy, and a bit more, out there, whereas the Master's is more of the sophisticated, type.
Yeah.
So it kind of, despite him being the hero, he's being the grumpy one. The Master's the charming,
Yeah. I kind of see what they're doing there. I kind of get it, but I just like it. I do like his very straight shooting as well. I call it, where like you kind of get straight to the point. You don't like kind of waft around it, like Patrick Troughton was kind of, he wafts around the subject while trying to trip you up using words and acting dumb. But John Pertwee just does it.
Yeah,
a lot like William Hartnell sometimes, but even William Hartnell's first Doctor kind of acted like any time John Pertwee's third Doctor kind of did any acting was Green Death when he dresses up as the milkman and the old lady. But John Pertwee always just has a very kind of just a very different feel of story, and it never, like, no other Doctors kind of get that feel. Like, he just has a very different feel on screen to other Doctors, John Pertwee.
Yeah.
I can't really explain it in words though. It's odd, but it's just, I love his clothes though.
I think he very much I think the thing about John Pertwee was that, of course, he was named for his comedy roles before, and he very much went headfirst into this to be a bit more of a serious kind of scientist kind of thing.
Yeah, do something more.
I know it wasn't necessarily made everybody most fond of it. I know my mum doesn't really like John Pertwee's Doctor because of that, but I enjoy it. I enjoy a lot of the stories. Though, he does have a lot more range than what is shown in his Doctor Who performances. John Pertwee,
definitely.
like it doesn't use full range of talents.
Yeah, no.
But he very much does the role fantastically. But at the same time, it's kind of
he took
restricts
it
him.
very seriously, like Patrick Troughton did. You think that Patrick Troughton's just having fun when he films it, but like behind the scenes, he was always very much critical of everything that was going on.
He's very much professional.
Which is really nice, that every actor's kind of cared so much about the role, really, and making sure it's kind of
all of
even William Hartnell, he was like making sure everything was perfect, making sure that you learnt the buttons. It's impressive stuff.
Yeah, they all very much care about their role. They all very much care.
So back onto the story. So they're there, and then unit. They get the news about the break-in, and then telescope. So then they go over, and basically, like, Brigadier and the Doctor and Joe are in the car, and then, like, the Brigadier never turns his head and he doesn't say anything in it. I'm really intrigued to see if that was actually Nicholas Courtney in the car or not. Because basically the camera turns as Joe's about to get out of the car, and the Brigadier just sits perfectly still, like you don't want to see his face. And I'm thinking that maybe it's just an extra sitting in his place.
Bother to bring him.
The hair looks a bit more brown at the back. It was just something I noticed. And I was like, is that actually Nicholas Courtney, or is that just someone sitting in on that? Because it was on location. I mean, if he didn't need to be there for the entire day, then they didn't need him. And all it was Joe, you stay in the car with the Brigadier, and then basically they went and questioned people. But yeah, I liked the bit where the Time Lord appeared and like.
Yeah, I mean, I got a bit of slightly conflicted on this because like it kind of feels. Kind of breaks the pace, yeah. In some ways, I'm actually more interested for the Doctor to discover it was the Master on his own, as opposed to having somebody outright. Oh, hello. I'm going to explain exactly. He's here.
I think it's because if you miss it at the beginning, that it's the TARDIS that he arrives in. I think it's important that basically, I think it was for the younger kids to just go, yep, he is the villain, and he's on Earth, and he's a Time Lord.
The Doctor could have, if the Doctor recognised the Master, he could have just gone to Joe like, this is the Master.
Not him. He's always causing trouble. I just like the scene. But
it's a good scene. Don't get me wrong, but it kind of feels out of place. Kind of
I think it should have happened right at the start.
They're about to go into more of an intense thing, and suddenly he's having to stop and talk to this guy as he's about to go in and find this bomb thing.
Yeah. I think it's mainly it should have happened right at the beginning. So after the scene where he stole the nesting consciousness, the Time Lord should have arrived.
Either explain it at first or have a bit of mystery to it.
Yeah, not at all.
Don't try to kind of do both to where it starts off as a bit of a mystery and then you just outright say it.
It paused and went, hey, this guy that you've seen from the past, you're pretty sure he's a villain. Well, let me just confirm that he is a villain, he is a Time Lord, and is evil. Yeah. Good luck, Doctor. And then he comes.
Oh, by the way, there's a bomb there.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
And it just disappears. But I mean, he's never giving a name, and I liked his kind of dress code. Like John Pertwee, he's like, "Oh, you look like an idiot dressed like that." While he's there with all these frills and stuff. And then he decides to disarm the bomb in the most riskiest way. Instead of just like
past the door,
cutting the string or something. Blood.
He didn't have any scissors.
I know, but then you go and get something which could cut it, But no, he decides to charge through the door and then catch it.
Yeah.
Like...
Which still might have exploded.
Yeah, I know.
For all I could have exploded his hands.
It just ends right there like the telescope. Just...
And then we just get the Master laughing.
The wouldn't come, so...
It's just 3 parts of the Master laughing. That's just the rest of the story.
Wouldn't that have been really risky though? Because didn't he need the telescope for the nesting conch? Oh no, he already brought them. He'd already brought them. That's fine. He'd already got them.
He still needed it at the end of the story.
Yeah,
though.
So isn't it a bit risky putting the?
He didn't actually bring the nesting consciousness. That was just the
like the brainwaves to go into the little.
What did he do in the beginning? Because he kind of had the spear and then he.
He then uses
to
channel energy into the surviving nesting unit, so he got energy. So the thing which was in the place was empty, and then he just got it in, so then he could use it.
So he could, okay, that makes sense.
So then he makes his kind of his own evil, posing as Colonel Masters. I love that name, Colonel Masters. Basically, he takes over the plastic factory, and then he makes his own Autons. Again, using green screen.
One thing I'll say is that the Autons here look noticeably worse. Because the faces are they have cling film around the faces.
It's like a clear thing.
It's really odd effect. Like as opposed to just having the mask from Spearhead. Why did they use cling film around?
Maybe it was easier to breathe or something. It's like why they changed the 10th Planet Cybermen so soon in the moon base is because it was easier for actors. Maybe they couldn't really see in the old ones, but I preferred the Spearhead space ones. They were creepier.
New ones don't even really look like mannequins. They kind of, I don't know.
just plastic, but maybe it's because they didn't need to be disguised as them. Did they not care? But I think it's just a bit of a
consistency would have been nice.
Yeah, a little bit lazy on the old production side, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, but they definitely don't look. They don't look better.
No,
I preferred it when they had their daffodil heads on, really, because at least those were kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Sinister, definitely.
Definitely.
But yeah, so Joe then goes and investigates and then knocks over a crate. I love it when she pops up thinking, oh, maybe they didn't see me. It's just like, oh, hello.
Oh,
and then the master says nothing. He just stares at her like, motherfucker.
What are you doing?
I just love his beard, like the two white thing. It's just so cool.
It is.
If you want to be a villain, look at Roger Delgado's master, and that's how you play a villain. In any kind of thing. If you're trying to go for the sophisticated evil, just watch Roger Delgado as the master, and you'll see the best kind of villain that you can do. It's the staring, the way that you talk, the sentence structure. It's just it's just so perfect. And I'm so glad that they did make an arch nemesis that could come back every time, but be interesting. Though my only problem with the master is when he keeps working with like aliens. And they always betray him. So why does he keep working with them?
Well, and he occasionally betrays them.
Yeah, sometimes that as well.
That's what happens in this story.
Yeah, but then they kind of go back
Which is
and then
weird, but
re-betray. So it's like a double betray because they betray him by trying to get all the Nestine to come. So then, it's a crazy story. It's kind of a bit like a copy and paste of Spearhead, but enough has been changed.
I don't think it because
It's basically the very skeleton. So the skeleton's the same. There's Autons. They're going to invade. Blah blah blah. But it's like the flesh and all the other
thing
bits added is different.
about this is that the focus isn't on the Autons, despite
it's
them
more
being
on the master.
back. No. So I think,
and that was why it was smart bringing back them as villains, because we already knew them from the Pertwee era. From the very first one, so they didn't need to explain anything much about them, because if you'd watched Spearhead, it was fine, you understood them completely, and it was good. It was good that they brought them back. I think it was probably the best choice, because it's like in Rose, they don't need much explaining. They're living plastic, they're coming to attack.
Pretty much,
there you go.
And they're creepy,
They're creepy, there you go. And that's why even in Rose, I'm so glad it was Autons. I just always smile when I think of the first episode and Autons. It feels right. I'm kind of annoyed that they've never done anything more with them. They've always been kind of secondary characters now. I kind of want a main one with Autons. I think they could do a
exploded the Nesting consciousness. If they had that.
Always come back.
I guess.
A little slime.
But they also explained that the planet exploded.
Yeah, so it could be in the past. It's time travel, Conrad.
But Doctor Who sometimes follows weird continuity where it makes sure that despite all the Dalek appearances, they've almost they act like it's been one after another, kind of. Except for the original Dalek story, which I think is supposed to take place far in the Dalek's future, but at the same time, some other things.
Well, it's after Genesis. Genesis is the very.
Well, yeah, of course, it's after Genesis.
We need an official timeline.
Yeah. I always find that kind of interesting, thinking about how all these episodes kind of fit in together, and how if you actually tried to make a timeline to where every episode took place in, how that would mess up with some things.
It probably would. I'd be interested to do that,
because the future has been many, many things. Relatively short space of time.
It's easy to write about the future.
There is some kind of continuity with like the arc in space and Satellite 5 kind of all taking place.
And also Beast Below. Because the UK went off.
Yeah. They all kind of linked into this whole event of the Earth. Oh, and Sontaran Experiment, I guess. Well, of course, all that
links,
season.
Really.
Yeah, most of that season.
But yeah, anyway, back on.
Yeah, we can't. Let's go off topic.
Keep going off. It's kind of I'd say it's very simple storytelling. There's nothing too difficult to understand.
No. I mean, it doesn't need to be though. It really doesn't need to be. The focus really here is on the characters, introducing the Master, introducing Joe.
The first cliffhanger is pretty extreme with her trying to open a bomb. I thought that's a bit risky. It's a bit risky making the companion kind of the danger, because it kind of for especially young kids, when someone's going to kill the hero as the Doctor, you kind of tend to dislike them, and it's kind of what they did kind of a bit risky, like with Colin Baker with the strangulation of Perry. It's kind of risky making. I know that she was hypnotized, but even like with the Doctor, you knew that he was like something wasn't right, but still people didn't like it. And it was just, I think it was a bit risky.
Actually, another thing risky, and actually just getting a little bit back, but Mr. McDermott is deaf, and the chair kind of folding in them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is. I mean, like he's getting suffocated, like having the thing. That's a nasty
death. It was nasty death.
And also, you question why, like, because it seems like the Master didn't try to hypnotize him.
Yeah, no, I think he just maybe it's like he's so many people he can hypnotize at once. Like, you know, there's like saying like with the technology in the time, like maybe there's like a mental link or something. You know,
that was it before or after Joe was there? Because
I think it was after. After
Joe.
I think, yeah, because then Rex then appeared kind of straight away in the next scene, really.
Perhaps, though, like, they don't really establish a limit, because, like, he hypnotises people at the fair, he hypnotises, like, of course, Rex Farrell, and then he hypnotises Joe. Like, I mean, there doesn't really seem to be a limit, at least as far as the episode explains. So why didn't try to hypnotise him? I don't know.
I think actually that asphyxiation was later on, or was it in the earlier one? Was it in the first one? Was it in episode 1?
Mr. Farrell, yeah, because the way I've got it here. Because of course he appears before Mr. Farrell, and
yeah, because I'm pretty sure maybe it's a bit after seeing Death from... No, yeah, sorry, I'm getting confused because the asphyxiation is later on.
So it's still in part 1. It's still in part 1.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty good cliffhanger for episode 1. I mean, it's intriguing.
It's quite intense. And actually, again, I forgot to even mention the Joe hypnotised, but that's really well acted as well.
She does do it quite well.
Yeah, no, she really gets that down, and like
I do like it.
And the fact that they really emphasise the fact that the brain can't quite process what happened at the beginning of episode 2. Yeah,
where she's like, I had to open it, and like, it was really nice. It's nice that
the script in this is really good.
Well,
like,
it's Robert Holmes.
Yeah, of course.
Good stuff, Robert Holmes. But
the scripts are always good. Though, in the case of the Crotons, it's the acting that lets that down.
Yeah, so the Doctor then kind of goes off to the circus, and then steals the comedian circuit. What am I talking about?
Dematerialization.
Yeah, the dematerialization.
Which is a thing throughout the episode, because he's like trying to repair it as we find
his own one, and then it's kind of, this is linked all the way through up to, I think in the next story it plays a bit of a role.
The Doctor steals, slightly before that actually, the Doctor is taken, because he's about to head into the horse box, and then like he's taken away by the circus people and is kind of held down, which is kind of an interesting scene.
Free by Joe, yeah. It's weird, kind of small, kind of torture bit, and then it's like,
help, kind of a torture bit.
Help! You didn't really shout that loud.
Yeah. If I remember right, what was his name?
The strong man. Roy Stewart.
Yeah, he's the same guy from as Toberman from
Simon.
And he plays very similar characters in both stories.
Silent,
strong, somewhat of a servant.
Gets smashed over the head.
Like I had the special features. Like I think some people kind of accuse that of being slightly racist. Like,
each time.
And in a way, it kind of is, but at the same time, they don't do anything. Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't take the role if he had a problem with it.
I'm glad to say that in Doctor Who's case, like despite like other shows around it, Doctor Who never really does anything too racist. Like even this story, there's nothing too racist about it. Like he's a strong man. It's kind of silent. I mean, you can kind of pick up on some of the like stereotypes at the time, but at the same time, it's not really.
It's not too bad. I mean,
there's nothing particularly racist
if he took the role, then he's obviously not got nothing wrong with it himself.
Of course,
so then, if he's got no problem with it, why do other people somehow all of a sudden like? If he had a problem with it, he wouldn't take it, and he'd make the fuss.
Absolutely.
So don't start like.
And once again, I think Doctor Who is
other shows at the
It's
time you can
arms.
point and say that is racist. That is racist. But Doctor Who never crossed that boundary.
It's
It never really crossed that boundary, and which is kind of lucky, especially considering I think if I remember right, in an interview, well actually no, it was fairly recent, but Patrick Troughton for his role was actually considering doing blackface.
Yeah, no, I heard about that.
Yeah,
That was
had that happened, we might have been looking back on this era kind of a bit differently, but
God, that would have been so
that
weird.
would have been, well, at least as far as we know. I mean, back in that time period, obviously, it wouldn't really be, it'd be kind of normal, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad it never happened, and I'm glad, the entire era of Doctor Who can be watched without, any...
Any like, oh, that they should have done
this
that.
cringe, yeah.
Except maybe not a female doctor, but that's a different discussion for a different day.